So as liquid products become much more popular in the DIY market, I've been hearing a lot of talk, and over the last year or two I've seen a lot of discussion around hose end sprayers. Which one's better? There's a few on the market. There's a couple of really popular ones on the market, and today I want to focus on two of them. Mainly the Ortho dial and spray and the Chameleon hose end sprayer. Both of these are very similar, but they also have some pretty interesting differences. So I want to talk about those two today and maybe help you decide which one's best for you. So with that, let's get started. So just in case you're not familiar with these products, a hose end sprayer is a simple, usually plastic piece of equipment that connects to your hose, has a small tank on the bottom that you fill with product, and there's a straw inside, and when you turn your hose on and you activate the sprayer, it creates a vacuum that sucks up the product through the straw, mixes it with the water through the hose at a certain flow rate, and distributes it whether on the lawn, in the garden, wherever. So I've got two products here, as you can see. I've got the Ortho dial and spray, and I've got the Chameleon hose end sprayer here as well. Both of these products are found at my local Home Depot. They're on the shelf right next to each other, and they're the only two hose end sprayers that are there on the shelf. So I thought that was interesting. So I thought I would take both of them, try them out. And now I've been using the Ortho sprayer for a little over a year now, and I've been using this Chameleon sprayer for a little while. It's more new to me than the dial and spray, so I don't have as much experience with it, but I've used it enough to get an idea of how it works and how I like it. So I feel like I have reason enough to explain my opinion. So to start off on my comparison and review, I want to start with the Ortho dial and spray. Now, the advantages of the Ortho dial and spray are: it's really simple to use. It's very basic setup. You just plug into the hose. There's a hose fitting right there on the end of the handle. And the nice thing that I like about this particular hose fitting is it has a rubber gasket on the inside of the hose link adapter. And that allows you to do whatever task you're trying to do, spray whatever product you're trying to spray. No leaks coming out the handle. I would note, in comparison to the Chameleon, I like the way the handle feels, the grip of the handle, better on the dial and spray than I do on the Chameleon. The Chameleon has more of a straight handle, and this one has a more curved handle, and I feel like that fits better in my hand in comparison to the Chameleon. Another thing to note as far as spray patterns go, I like the shower spray option on the Ortho more than I do on the Chameleon. I feel like the Ortho has a much more consistent, uniform look to that shower spray, whereas the Chameleon doesn't quite have that. Now for some disadvantages with the dial and spray. I think the biggest disadvantage to the dial and spray is it requires a little bit of modification in order for it to work with certain products. For example, when you get the Ortho dial and spray right from the store, it comes with a filter on the end of the tube, and some companies recommend cutting that off and tying a rubber band around the end of the tube so that the weight falls down that way. Another thing that I learned in comparing these two products is that the Ortho dial and spray doesn't support any ready-to-use bottles for other products. The Chameleon comes with a longer straw, and the lid supports hooking up to other ready-to-use products so that you can use the same spray mechanism with the Chameleon sprayer. Another disadvantage that I noticed when using the dial and spray is when you reattach the container to the sprayer, you have to kind of line up the grooves a little bit more, and it takes more rotations to actually lock it into place. The Chameleon I found to be a lot easier in that category, so just something else I noticed there. Now for the Chameleon. The Chameleon comes with a nice, convenient quick connect fitting to the hose so that you can quickly detach the sprayer and the container from the hose without causing the hose to continue to run while you're refilling or cleaning or something like that. It's just ready to go and always there. Now, speaking of the container, I also found the container to be less awkward in shape. The Ortho's more of a triangular shape, whereas this one's more round and cylindrical. easier to hold, easier to screw on to the sprayer, easier to handle by far. One final advantage of the Chameleon to note is the actual trigger. Now this was a big deal for me, and I think it's a big deal for everybody because the trigger is like the main source of contact that you really have with the actual product. You're using that the most. And the trigger on the Chameleon, in my opinion, is superior. It's really light, it's really easy to use, you don't have to squeeze it very hard. The Ortho feels like it's kind of spring-loaded, and you've really got to hold on to it and squeeze it pretty hard for it to activate. And that just kind of bothers me a little bit. I like the ease of use on the trigger on the Chameleon. Now there are some disadvantages with the Chameleon, and one of them is a pretty big one in my opinion. Something that I noticed from the beginning that really bugged me, and still does bug me, and so I thought I'd for sure mention that here. The first disadvantage I want to talk about is the spray pattern on the shower setting. Now the shower setting is the one that I use the most. I like that one the most, and I find myself always sticking to that when I use it when I spray products in the yard. The spray pattern for the shower setting on the Chameleon isn't as uniform and consistent as I would like it to be. I kind of found that it just was very uneven, the pattern wasn't very well established, but it works, and it will work, and it's not really a deal-breaking feature. At least in my opinion, it's not. Now, the Dial and Spray, the Ortho product, does have a very consistent shower spray setting, and it works very nicely, and it comes out of the nozzle, looks really good, and you can tell you're getting a really even spray pattern there. Now the biggest disadvantage in my opinion for the Chameleon sprayer is the connection between the hose, your hose, and the Chameleon sprayer itself. The hose fitting there leaks, and it leaks very bad and very consistently. And if you're using it on a consistent basis in early spring, temperatures are still cold, the water coming through the system is still quite cold, that drip is going to drip constantly on your hand the entire time you're using it, and it's cold and it's wet, and no matter what time of year it is, it's always going to be wet. So something to watch out for. I did try to get a rubber gasket inside there to try and stop that leak. Didn't work. Once I put the rubber gasket in there, pulled the trigger, nothing would come out. It clogs the flow of water into the sprayer itself, and that's just a bad deal. So that was a huge disadvantage for me, and it's not a fluke thing. I did put it on later. I took the gasket out, reattached the hose, put it on as tight as I could to try and prevent any kind of leaks, and it still leaked. So that was kind of a bummer for me. Does it really kill the whole deal? I'll let you decide. So really what it comes down to is personal preference. Whatever you think is best for you, whatever features you like the most, whatever's going to be the easiest product for you to use, that's the one that you should really go with. I'm going to leave a link to both of these products in the description below. Take a look at them for yourself, try them for yourself, try them both for yourself, and see which one you like the best. I don't think that you should base your opinion solely off of a review or several reviews. I think the best review in this case for a product like this is your own. So give it a try. Like I said, links are in the description. You can also find these at your local hardware store. They're very inexpensive, so it's worth definitely trying them both. Now, if I had it my way, I would take the best of both of these things and put them together into one super product, and I would even pay a few dollars extra to have something like that. Something with a curved handle like the Dial and Spray that doesn't leak, that has a nice easy to use trigger like the Chameleon does, a round container like the Chameleon does, a nice consistent shower spray pattern like the Dial and Spray has. Take all of those things that I enjoy about both those products, mesh them together into one product. I'd buy that any day. I'd recommend that 100% any day. So I hope that's helpful for you. Thank you for watching. I'm excited to use these. I'm going to continue to use both of these throughout the season, so you'll see them in my videos. They're not going anywhere. I'm going to keep trying to use both of them to get a real feel for how they work. I enjoy using a hose end sprayer, especially when I'm using products from the next line. You'll see me using a lot of those this year. You'll see me using it with Hydrotane, other things like that. So I'm going to get a lot of use out of both of these products throughout the season and really put them through the paces. So again, I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.